Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today, folks. If you can't tell from the mask and the shirt, we're talking about that season finale of Daredevil Born Again. I'm a little late getting this done. Haven't had a whole lot of time to make some videos this week, but I'm getting to it right now. I wanted to set aside some time because I know I've got a lot that I'm going to talk about. As a whole, this season, I loved it. I think this video, I'm going to talk about the season finale first, non-spoiler, then go into spoilers, and then I'll talk about the season as a whole, and at the end of the video, I'll give my ranking and my rating of what I thought of the season as a whole. So you'll want to stick around to the end of the video to see my rating and what I thought overall of the season. So the season finale, I thought, was really well done. From where they ended on episode 8 and progressed everything through episode 9, I thought was very well done. The only thing that I can say that would be a negative of this episode, and it's not really even a negative, was, to me, it kind of felt like a mid-season finale opposed to an actual season finale. There was one thing that happened at the end. I thought we were going to get more, but they gave us a setup for the more that we'll get in season 2, which I was okay with. In a lot of ways, this kind of was a mid-season finale because I think season 1 and season 2, season 1 was actually supposed to be 16, 18 episodes, but they decided to split it and make it 9 episodes and make season 2 9 episodes. So season 1 and season 2 are very much going to roll together and be a cohesive back-to-back season. So I was okay with that season finale. I thought the pacing was great, the acting was great, the things we got was great. Everything about it I thought was great. The build-up throughout the season, things paid off. They left you dangle on things. Very well done. So to get into spoilers, because this is going to be the meat of the video right here. So spoilers, if you've watched, go ahead and continue to watch. If you haven't watched and you don't want to be spoiled, now's the time to hop off or skip forward to see the rating, however you want to do it. Or if you want to pause the video, come back to it at a later time after you've watched it to see my thoughts, now would be that time to do that. So with that being said, I showed my shirt so we all know who was back in this episode. Uncle Frank was back. Karen was back. So let's just kind of start where the episode started. So we see the aftermath of Matt being shot, taking the bullet for Fisk. We see him in the hospital. He comes to. I never can remember. This is so bad. I can never remember the girl that Matt was with this season. I can never remember her name. I want to say Natasha, but I don't think that's right. Regardless, it doesn't matter. She's in the hospital with Matt's lawyer that he works with, that gal. He comes to, and she's over him, and he says, of course, Karen, which Matt and this girl's relationship is kind of hanging by a thread, and those threads are popping off. So that's another thread that pops when he says Karen. And the lawyer says, oh, it's just the drugs. It's not just the drugs. Matt misses Karen. So anyway, Matt's going on about all this, about how she's wrong about Fisk. She really needs to believe him. All this. The lawyer's kind of like, okay, you need to settle down. He's telling her, I need to see the affidavit that Foggy had on the case. what it was he found. She kind of tells him that he did find something. So then we fast forward. They leave Matt alone. We fast forward to Fisk. He's on a rampage. He wants the city shut down, martial law into effect. He wants all the vigilantes hunted. And we see him send people out of his office. And then we see him ask Buck, he says, what's the status on Matt Murdock? And he says, well, he's stable condition, blah, blah, blah. Fisk basically tells Buck, go kill him. He's going to succumb to his injuries. It's taking a vigilante off the street. That's what we need to do. So Buck goes to the hospital. As he's going in, at this point, Fisk had talked to the police commissioner and his under mayor, whatever she is, whatever her title she is. The under mayor and the police commissioner had a meeting outside his chambers, and the police commissioner basically says, I'm going to Raleigh in the morning. I'm going to the governor. I'm taking this up higher. He's a criminal. I'm going to report him, everything he's done. And she basically records that conversation and gives it to Fisk. Later in the episode, we see that. So as this is all going on, Buck's going in. He's going to give Matt a syringe of something to kill him. And all the lights go out. The city goes black. Fisk has shut all power down to the whole city. Chaos erupts. Matt hears the footsteps of Buck coming. He slips out of his hospital room before he can get there. And then we see Matt go to his apartment, and he kind of collapses on the couch. And therein we hear him say, haircut and a shave, did you do that all for me? And we see Frank in the kitchen. Then we see the anti-vigilante task force came to Matt's apartment. They're going to kill Matt in his apartment. So they're coming up. He's still in his hospital gown, Matt is. And Frank says, you going to do this with your ass hanging out? And, of course, the next scene we see Matt's in his suit. Frank's got the skull. He's got all of his stuff on. And in they come into Matt's apartment. And it is just a brutal, bloody, violent bloodfest. It was exactly what I thought it would be. Matt has his batons. He's wham, wham, cracking skulls. Frank is just killing people. Matt's trying to stop him, but Frank is boom, boom, just killing, left and right. You finally figure out Matt finds the one that killed White Tiger. His hand is basically pinned to the wall with a knife. And Frank tells Matt to do it, kill him. And Matt says, no, this isn't the way, I can't do it. And Frank's basically giving him crap about, why'd you take a bullet for Fisk? Why'd you do all this? And in the midst of this, more task force is coming up the stairs. Matt hears them coming. Matt grabs Frank, runs off the balcony. They jump off the building. Matt swings him down to the road. They're talking in the road. Frank's still going on at Matt. And Matt says, you're an asshole, Frank. Frank says, I know, Red. And, that's their relationship. And then you see a headlight. And Frank had told Matt that somebody had called him and told him that Matt needed help. You see the headlight come out, and out comes Karen. And so Karen helps them. Karen helps Matt find what he needed about Foggy in the case, which basically says Red Hook, where Fisk wants to do all this development, Red Hook basically has no jurisdiction, or is basically owned by anyone. It's basically a free lot of land, and they figure out that's why Fisk wants it, because he can do anything he wants through Red Hook. He can funnel in his money. He can money launder all the crime. He can push through Red Hook. He can bring all that in, and he doesn't have to answer to anyone for it because no one owns it. And that's what Foggy had found, and that's what Foggy got killed over, because Foggy had found that they were going to do that and was going to bring it to the case. So we go through this. It goes on. Matt and Frank split up because Matt and Karen were going to find this. Frank didn't want to join them. He was being Frank. Karen's telling him, there's more to you than this. Which, of course, there is, which later we see, because Frank actually walks right into, an ATF, Anti-Vigilante Task Force trap. Anti-AVTF trap. He walks into it and just starts cracking skulls. Again, just violent, visceral. It was Punisher being Punisher, what we wanted. And he did not give in. At one point, there is a tomahawk, and he's just hacking and slicing people up with the tomahawk. He's just taking hits. He's giving blows. I think it was non-lethal rounds that the AVTF was using to shoot Frank, because Frank took a lot of hits from that shotgun and was still moving. So it had to have been non-lethal rounds, rubber rounds. But anyway, Frank gets captured. And there's a good scene, and I like this scene where they had Frank and they were torturing him. And you see Frank, he's in the chair, he's tied up, and you see all the AVTF around Frank, and they all have skulls painted on their shirts. And they're basically saying, oh, join us, you can help us, you would be such a help. And Frank starts laughing at him and basically says, you idolize me, you look at me, you all are clowns. You want something to idolize Captain America, not me, And that's wherein they're using his symbol, but they don't understand Frank's symbol, the Punisher symbol. In the comics and even on the Netflix series, the movies, here in this show, the Disney Plus show, his special he's going to get, the Punisher logo, it basically stands for the bad, evil of the world. Frank rids the world of them. His philosophy is, if you lock away a criminal, they're still a criminal. Okay? But if you kill a criminal, there's one less criminal. And that's Frank's philosophy. And that's what these cops have adapted to, they're wearing the skull, and that's what they're doing. And they don't understand that. They're just crooked cops. They're corrupt cops. They don't really have a code, where Frank has a code. And that's what they're bastardizing his code and what he is by doing this. So he gets caught, he gets captured. And Matt and Karen basically go to Red Hook, where they have all these vigilantes caged. And everyone, not just vigilantes, but people that are going against Fisk, they have them all caged. And you see Matt and Karen, like Matt's ready to go in. He's telling Karen, I have to do this. I have to go in. And she says, if you go in there, you die, or you're going to have to kill. And that's not you. You can't do this. You have to do this another way. This is not the way. And this is why I said this episode kind of felt like a mid-season finale, because you thought Matt was going to go in. I thought we were going to get this big showdown between Matt and the AVTF. I thought we were going to see batons flying, him acrobating everywhere. But it went like that, and we go to another scene, and he says, we need an army. Bam. Scene cuts, it changes. We go to Josie's, and basically Matt and Karen have a heart-to-heart. Matt walks into Josie's and basically says, we have to fight this. We need an army. I'll lead you. We're fighting Fisk. We're going to bring him down. I'm taking back my city. While he's doing that, the police commissioner was brought into Red Hook. He's brought before Fisk. He's brought before a lot of other AVTF task force. And this is where we really see the evil, brutality, controlling, physical, menacing Fisk that we've been waiting to see. The way they filmed it was brutal. And this is what they were talking about, that this was the most brutal episode that they'd filmed. Because the police commissioner, Fisk, rips the guy's head apart. Basically crushes his skull, rips his jaw off. I mean, he rips dude's head off and crushes it. And that was the finale. It was Matt talking to the people in Josie's, his friends in Josie, about building an army. Now, I did see one thing that I haven't seen anybody else pick up on or say at all, but did we see Jubilee on the street when, at the end of the episode, when he was talking about building an army? There was a girl, a dark-haired girl with a yellow jacket and earrings that looked like Jubilee from the cartoon and the comics. Maybe it wasn't, but I've seen nobody else pick up on this. And if it was, I think that's a great way to segue into the MCU's X-Men, to have them already there established and have Jubilee, that he's building this street-level army. We've already got the Miss Marvel teases. We've seen the Swordsman. We've got Frank. I think season 2, I think this was a great way for them to bring in Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, bring back the Defenders. They're in New York, so I would love to see a team up with Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, the X-Men, Fantastic Four. I don't think we're going to get all of that until Doomsday, because I don't think Fisk is a big enough threat. If you pull Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, all the X-Men, you're just not going... Fisk just isn't that big of a threat to bring all those characters in. Now, you could do smaller, more minor X-Men and bring them in, and I think it would work. But I think just seeing Matt lead this smaller team of Avengers, Kate Bishop, you could bring her in. Even Miss Marvel, I think, is too much for Fisk. I'd love to see Moon Knight brought in. I think those characters would work great against Fisk. They just have to be careful with who they bring in, that it's not too much. I'd love to see Spider-Man go up against Fisk, but I think Spider-Man's the only one. I would say Spider-Man, Daredevil, Punisher, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Kate Bishop, and maybe bring in some of the more minor X-Men, Jubilee maybe, just to show that there are the X-Men in this world and in the MCU. And I feel like they could fight the Task Force and Fisk, and they would be very well off. But, yeah, I mean, and that was the episode. There is a post-credit scene, and it is Frank caged up, and he's talking to the guard that's watching him, making small talk, and Frank basically puts his arm out the hole where they serve him food, and I'm like, dude's going to break out. Dude's going to shake his hand. Dude's going to break his arm. And sure enough, Frank shakes his hand, pulls the guy's hand in, breaks his hand, breaks his arm, and basically takes himself. He's breaking out, and that's what it was showing. And that's going to segue into his Punisher special that we're going to get. I think that's later this year. I think that'll come out before season 2 of Daredevil. So I think that'll fit in with this story they're telling and go into season 2. And I'm really excited to see that story because I know John Bernthal's put a lot into it. and he gets the character and he understands it, and I think it's going to be great. But that was the season finale. I loved it. I love this season. Now we'll get into my rating for the season as a whole. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I love talking about this stuff, as you can see. So this season as a whole, I really enjoyed it and I really liked it. I know it wasn't for everyone. I saw a lot of complaints that, oh, it's not like the Netflix series. And I think a lot of people wanted just a copy of the Netflix series, but we knew that wasn't what we were going to get because they were bringing this character into the MCU. And I think they did a phenomenal job of it. And I think they showed they can have these stories in the MCU and intertwine into other stories, but they can do the dark, gritty stories contained in the MCU, and they can do it and do it successfully. I wish DC would see this and do this within their own universe that they're building. But I thought this was great. I thought the writing was great. I thought the way they did everything. I thought the season progressed, had a nice flow. I think only episode 5 was really the only episode that felt out of place. But I thought everything built. Some did feel slow, but it wasn't a bad slow. I think it was intentional, but it wasn't a bad slow. And I think those episodes got a lot of hate. I saw a lot of people complain that it was slow, that it was boring, it wasn't what they expected. But I think they had a good balance of the action and of Matt in the suit and Matt as a lawyer and Matt trying to traverse this life after Foggy died and getting to this point. And it was to build that. And I think they did a great job of it. Maybe it wasn't for everybody. I loved it and I liked it. I wish I liked other shows as much as I liked this show. And maybe other shows can learn from this and get to a point like this and get better writers and write it better and have the cinematography and have the action and have the relationships and have the acting and the cohesiveness and just tell this story. But as a rating, I give this show a 9 out of 10. I don't give a full 10 out of 10. I take that back. Not a 9 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10. I give it an 8 out of 10 because some of the episodes did have some slow points that weren't really necessary. Episode 5 was kind of a, okay, why are we doing this kind of episode to me. But just because I gave it an 8 out of 10 doesn't mean I didn't like this season. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And another reason I give it an 8 out of 10 is because the finale did kind of, in a way, feel like a mid-season finale and not a real season finale. For the real season finale, I feel like we would have seen him fight Fisk or the AVTF or see Luke Cage and Jessica in the bar that he gave his speech or something. But an 8 out of 10, strong season. I can't wait for season 2. I can't wait to see the direction they go. I think Karen's back for good. Her and Matt, you can tell there's something there. Matt's other girlfriend, she took a job with Fisk. She's drawn the line, she's with Fisk, not with Matt. I think that's going to come back into play. Of course, we're going to see what Frank's up to, what he's going to do. So I think season 2 is going to be very exciting, and I think season 2 is going to have to end with a big showdown between Matt and Fisk, and I think it's going to be brutal, and I think they're going to bring the heat. But that's my review. We're 25 minutes into talking about this, and I could just keep going on and on. But I loved it. I can't wait for season 2. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you stuck around for the whole video, thank you so much. Please subscribe to my channel so we can build this and build a community where we can just talk about these shows, these comics, these movies, this medium, and a place where we can talk about it and where we're not derogatory towards each other, where we respect if you like it, if you don't like it. We can talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. And this is a place for that. So if you like it, share, subscribe, promote the channel. It helps promote it. And thank you, everyone. I hope everyone has a great week, a great day. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you on the next video.